Iran's foreign minister Abbas Araghchi arrived in Islamabad ahead of a second round of peace negotiations with the US, but Tehran said talks would be indirect. The European Union and United States signed an agreement to coordinate on the supply of critical minerals needed for key industries.
EU governments are warning that Brussels' attempt to simplify housing regulation through its so-called omnibuses could be backfiring.
Iran's foreign minister Abbas Araghchi arrived in Islamabad Friday night ahead of a planned second round of peace talks with the United States. U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner are also due to head to Pakistan on Saturday morning. However, shortly after Araghchi arrived in the capital, his ministry said the talks would be indirect. A first round of negotiations already took place in Pakistan earlier this month, but both sides failed to reach a deal. Tehran had initially declined to send a delegation to Islamabad for a second round. It now has done so, but confirmed Iranian officials do not plan on speaking with US representatives directly. Instead, they said they would convey messages to Pakistani officials. Islamabad had a heavy security presence on Friday, with checkpoints around the city and road closures in the so-called red zone surrounding the expected negotiation venue. The European Union and United States signed an agreement Friday to coordinate on the supply of critical minerals needed for key industries, such as defense. The deal comes as China's dominance in the field becomes a growing concern. The pact marks a rare embrace by President Donald Trump's administration of the role of the EU, of which it recently has been critical of.
What we are doing today is very important, strengthening our relationship, and with this memorandum of understanding, I believe that we will be even more strategic together.
The over-concentration of these resources, the fact that they're dominated by just one or two places, is an unacceptable risk. We need diversity in our supply chains, diversity in the places that get critical minerals.
The EU is also seeking more progress in easing the effects of US steel tariffs. The bloc's trade commissioner said the talks are, quote, going in a positive direction, and added that the EU wants to align approaches with Washington towards third countries when it comes to steel trade.
EU governments are warning that Brussels' attempt to simplify housing regulation through its so-called omnibuses could be backfiring. Concerns grow that new rules may actually slow down urgently needed projects, a letter led by Ireland and backed by 6 other EU countries reveals. The Irish government has asked Economic Commissioner Valdis Dombrovskis to rethink plans to accelerate permitting procedures. It stressed that faster approvals are vital to deliver housing and critical infrastructure. Alongside Ireland, Austria, Greece, Lithuania, Poland, Slovakia and Slovenia argued that the issue is not over-regulation but poor alignment of EU laws. The request comes as Ireland faces a deepening housing crisis marked by soaring rents, widespread homelessness and chronic supply shortages. The issue extends beyond Ireland. House prices in the EU rose by 53% between 2010 and 2024 and rents by 25%.